What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Somebody's Mama podcast. We're your hosts, Nicole and
Kendra.
And we're so happy to be back today. You know, we took a little break last week.
We did.
It was much needed, okay?
Yes, we've been on the go.
And we're really good about consistently uploading. So once in a while, if we take a break, just know we'll be right back.
Right, because we don't do seasons and things like that. So we're always here. So a week ain't nothing. Y'all had time to catch up.
Exactly, because last week's Hot Topics, go hear what we had to say about all the juicy stuff last week. But let's go ahead and kick into it. I'm so excited to pod today.
Yes.
Kendra, how was your weekend? How was your Valentine's Day?
Yes.
What's the tea?
So we have to rewind because we skipped a week.
Yes.
So Valentine's Day, the weekend before Valentine's Day, my family and I went to Palm Desert. It was my parents' 45th wedding anniversary. So shout out to them. So that's one of our favorite places to go for a quick little vacay. So we went there. We got great weather. So we went to the pool. We went to brunch. Just hung out as a family. So that was really nice. And my parents watched the kids while my husband and I had our little Valentine's Day date.
Nice.
So we did that. And then we came back home. And I think, the kids were off that Monday. Yeah. So we kind of just chilled, hung out, and things like that. And then this past weekend, what did I do this past weekend?
You went out of town.
Yes. So I went out of town for a day. Unfortunately, one of my best friends' sister passed away. So went out there to support her and then flew back in the next day. I actually met up with one of my college roommates. Yes. I haven't seen her. I probably haven't seen her in maybe 3 years because I think I was pregnant with Bryson the last time I saw her. And I just saw her in passing, we hadn't seen each other in a long time. But yeah, she was one of the first people that I met in college. So actually both girls that I met, for the first people that I met in college, we all went out together.
Aww.
So yeah, that was nice. Just caught up, went out to brunch and things like that. Then I had to go to a birthday party. It was a long weekend, but it was a nice weekend. I got to see my best friend. She flew in for a week, hence my hair is braided.
Shout out to Amber.
Yes, and so so I had a pretty good couple of weekends. How about yourself?
Nice. So
she had a busy year.
It's been busy. It's been busy. My husband's been out of town. Valentine's Day, if you guys caught our live 2 weeks ago,
yes,
I told you guys, you heard it here first.
Right.
When it comes to the holidays, my husband likes to buy cars. And I told you guys that on the live. And on Valentine's Day,
she got a car. We pulled up to record the podcast. I'm like, is that her? She put up in the car.
Listen, and I like that the car that I got. It's not a bunch of bells and whistles, but it has great fuel. It's a good runner car because,
and it's still cute.
Yeah, it's still cute. It's a little
razzle dazzle.
A little razzle. Yeah, exactly. And so so that was exciting. And then my husband's been out of town working a lot, so. The pickup and the drop off. You
got a new mom ride.
Yeah. But the pickup and drop off has been driving me crazy. And so today's topic is going to be a good one because I need these tips as well.
Good. So let's go into our. Oh no, we wanted to talk about. Yeah. So a couple episodes ago, we had a conversation with ABC Conversation. So if you guys haven't heard that one yet, it was a really good episode. Yeah. So make sure you guys go back and listen or watch. I think it's episode 72 maybe. But yeah, just scroll down and make sure you guys check it out. It was really good. But in that conversation, we actually talked about showering in the dark.
Yes.
And ironically, that same week on the Joe Budden podcast, they had a conversation about showering in the dark.
Yeah.
So basically, I was saying Or the young lady who was speaking was saying that, you know, sometimes it's good to just take a 5-minute shower in the dark and allow yourself to relax. And I was shocked because I didn't know other people did that. So I was like, what? Y'all shower in the dark too? Like, you know? And so Nicole took that clip, and then, well, she listens to the Joe Budden podcast.
Yes. So I listened to the Joe Budden podcast, and that same week they were like, what's his name? Flip said he showers in the dark. So then we put the clips together, and we received so many comments and shares of that video.
Yes. There was literally so many. I was about to grab my phone and read some to you guys. But yeah, like
somebody said, how do you see yourself? I'm like, what?
You're really sitting there looking at yourself while you shower?
Yeah, like even if you have the lights on, I'm not sitting there like,
ooh, really? I mean, I guess you do look under your nails and stuff, but not like yeah. I can't even see my armpit.
Like, what are we, you know?
Yeah, you know, like the more views that you get, you're going to start to get trolls. That's why I was like, oh, the video is really popular.
Yeah, I love a troll. I love a troll.
Once you get some trolls, you know you do something right. Yeah. So we got a lot of views on that.
And Flip shared it.
He did.
Which was really nice.
He did. So shout out to all of our new listeners.
Yes.
But that was pretty funny to me because people were in the comments like, I found my tribe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a fun little moment.
Yeah, that was a fun experience because just seeing everybody's reactions, and then also people started sharing how they shower in the dark. Like people saying, yeah, I have a little bit of wine, I light a candle.
Right.
And
because some people were like, well, I don't like it pitch black. And that's like me. Like I like a little candle or light from like another room just so I can see, and I'm not like using shampoo instead of body wash or whatever. But
and I think that's the misconception. I think some people think it's pitch black dark, and it's like, no, it's not pitch dark.
And I think they're missing the sentiment behind it. It's for the purpose of relaxation. Like, not because you're trying to like save energy or whatever, something, you know, silly. But I mean, I guess some people might be saving energy. But
that's not the point.
The point is to relax, hear the sound of the water falling, and just put your mind at ease, which I feel like is also a good tip for what we're going to talk about today. So we can segue that in later on.
Yes.
But yeah. We also had some mama moments.
Yeah, and it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we shared a mama moment.
Right.
But yeah, we got some good ones today. What's yours, Kendra?
Okay, so mine actually happened today. I have several mama moments, but I never write them down. So I was like, let me just think of the one that happened today.
Yeah.
So today after school, I took Kendon to Trader Joe's because we had to pick up a couple things. And I just thought it was so hilarious that, you know, your kids kind of like pick up on your habits, or he can kind of be a little bit of a smart aleck sometimes. And so he always tries to get inside of the basket, but I'm like, wait, let me clean it first, or it's too dirty. Like, you don't need to get in the basket. You're a big boy. Like, you don't need to get in the basket. So today, when we walk up to Trader Joe's, he's like, Mom, can I get in the basket? And I'm like, yeah, you can get in the basket. He's like, wait. So he runs up to the thing. He grabs all these wipes and he just cleaning. And I mean, he didn't just wipe the bar handle on the top of the basket. He's wiping the whole basket down. Goodness. And he's just cleaning it all fast. And he's just like, Mom, is this cleaning up? Is this cleaning up? Is this cleaning up? And I'm like,
he knows his mom.
Yeah, he knows his mom. I thought it was so funny because he was cleaning like to no end. And he was like, can I get in now? And so I put him in the basket, and I thought he was going to want to sit in the back of the basket. Well, no, he wanted to sit in the front. And I'm like, boy, you are too big for this. And then he was like, do you really think I'm too big? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, let's try it. So he gets in, and then I'm cracking up because he's too big, these long legs or whatever. And so I start cracking up laughing. He's very sensitive about that. He was like, oh no, do you think people are going to laugh at me? Maybe I should get out. And I'm like, boy, you are fine.
You're like, you're already in here.
Listen. Yeah. So he's looking around trying to see if anybody's laughing at him. I'm like, boy, you are fine, but
you're going to be okay.
I thought that was so funny. I'm like, why are you cleaning this basket like that? I took a video because I was like, this is hilarious. So I'll probably post it or whatever.
That's funny. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I can see why they want to get in that basket because it does look fun. And I don't know. It looks like
it's like a little adventure for them. And then he's like, I'm driving, not driving, but like pushing him past stuff. He's like, oh, Mom, can you get that? Get some popcorn. I'm like, this is why I don't bring you to the store.
Exactly. Yeah. I've retired that. Like, I can't. I just can't.
They want everything. And then he goes, he's such a character. He starts covering his eyes, and I'm like, why are you covering your eyes? He's like, oh, I don't want to get distracted because I want to really get some of those peanut butter cups, but I know I already have some at home. So I don't need to look at them.
Oh my God. He's got a plan.
Right.
That's too cute. So these kids, you just never know. I thought I had shared this already, but I don't think I did because I shared it with you, right?
What?
So I'm driving in the car and my son puts on his sunglasses and he's like, wow, you guys, the sun is in a circle. And I'm like, stop looking at the sun.
You didn't tell me.
Okay, I was like, stop looking at the sun. You're going to hurt your eyes. I was like, the sun is going to make your eyes go blind. Stop looking at your eyes. And then my son says, oh, like how Dad used to be? I was like, Dad was never blind. Like, he just wears glasses. He's like, yeah, but sometimes he says he can't see.
Kids say the darndest things.
He had just put 2 and 2 together that his dad was blind.
Dad had to be blind because he works.
I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe he just said this. I told my husband, he was cracking up.
Hilarious. Kids are too much.
Too funny.
Okay, so let's move into our hot topic.
Oh, I'm so excited for this hot topic, okay?
Okay, you can get off then.
Okay. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I feel like over the years, it's become more and more acceptable for women to get pregnant in their later years, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel like it's a 50-50. Like either sometimes people wait till their later years and then they struggle to have kids, or sometimes they wait till the later and then they have a full-blown pregnancy and it goes smoothly or whatnot.
Right.
So today it was announced that Debrat was pregnant.
Yes. Yep.
And I was so surprised that Debrat was pregnant. But then Kendra and I were talking how they went on the Sherry show today. You guys are watching it like a day later, but they went on the Sherry show and they made good sense of why, Debrat chose to have this experience,
to carry.
Right? To carry. And she basically said, and Kendra could talk about it too, but basically saying that Jessica came to the point of saying Jessica had already had 3 children. Yeah. And then she did get pregnant at one point, but then she had a serious, and she had like some serious situations with her pregnancy, right?
Yeah, she was having blood clots, or I forgot the term that she used, but she had some type of condition to where when she was getting pregnant, it was causing her to clot
in her lungs.
Yes. And so it was very serious. Yeah. She had to have surgery, emergency surgery. Yeah. Lost the baby. And it was a very traumatic experience, but they learned a lot through their experience. I watched their show as well last season. And, they've talked about like having children and things like that.
And wanting children.
Yeah, because Debrat doesn't have any. She, like Nicole said, Jessica has 3 of her own. Yeah. But they were trying to figure out how they were going to do it. Yeah. If they're going to use surrogate or who was going to carry. So they had talked about before. And so Debrat is like, well, I think you should carry because you done already did this before. Yeah. Like, you already know what to do.
And Jessica was like, it doesn't work like that. Just because you've had a child doesn't mean that each pregnancy is just smoothly. That is going to, each one is different.
Yeah. So they had an interesting conversation, but social media went in a frenzy because everybody is so shocked that Debrat was the one that was carrying the baby. Right. But I am glad that they shared on the Sherry show and gave a little bit more insight because it's like boo-boo on y'all face. Like the people were being so mean in the comments and were like, because traditionally she would be like the stud in the relationship. But Debrat has always had like a feminine edge to her too. Like she wears makeup, she does her hair, her nails. Like, you know, and at the end of the day, she's still a woman.
Yeah.
So if she chose to carry, like, what's the big deal? It's not the first time we've seen that.
Exactly. And like Kendra was saying, Debrat is still very nurturing, and that's what Jessica was saying. Like,
yeah.
And you know what? Whenever I watch Debrat, especially on I forget Dish Nation or whatever, she is like really kind and very nurturing. And like, just because someone's a stud doesn't mean they can't be loving and kind. Right. They still can be feminine,
right?
You know.
And so that's what she was saying. Jessica was saying she wanted her to be able to have that experience, and to, you know, and Sherry was also saying, like, you know, it's a different thing to feel a baby moving inside of you, and it's a different connection and like all that. I am curious though, because people were also saying, like, well, it ain't really gonna be Jessica's baby because only one of them could give their eggs, and I'm like, that's a little bit too technical for me.
You know what? It's a little technical, but I think that's some of the beauty of
how far we've advanced.
Yeah, how far we've advanced.
Technology.
I have friends that are single and they're not with anyone and are considering carrying and, you know.
Like in vitro or with a donor.
Yeah. So I think just the only scary part about that is just your donor. But I saw somebody recently, there was a couple that used the rapper as their donor.
Oh yes, and somebody Frito Bang somebody gonna say that in the comments on the Shade Room, like, did Frito help them out or something like that?
Yeah, I was like, stop it. But I did like the way they went about it, because they understood that there was probably going to be some type of question. So by putting out the magazine cover and doing Sherry at the same time,
they answered all the questions.
Yeah, which I think was a very smooth way, because nobody wants to have the stress of being bullied online while pregnant. Because I'm sure, you know, to some degree, it's like, okay, you know, the world sees me, the vast majority of the world sees me in this way, and doesn't quite connect to me on my the
feminine side.
Yeah, of who I am. Like, they just see this visual and don't connect to me as a person. So
yeah. And so I think their show is coming out soon. So they're gonna be like kind of like showing the process and like all that stuff. And she's pretty early. Well, not early. She's like almost halfway there.
Yeah.
It's like 18 weeks, I think they said.
So we're going to be seeing a lot of pregnant Debrat, okay? And wait a second. She's 48.
48. Sheesh.
Like, on one hand, that's obviously a blessing to get pregnant at 48, but also to get pregnant at 48.
That's a lot. That's a lot on your body.
That's a lot on your body.
Mentally. And then it's like,
the hormones.
You still got to raise this kid. But, I mean, they still seem, they're not old.
Right,
but like
exactly.
48, as far as like just getting started, is pretty up there. But, you know, they're pretty active people. And
it'll be interesting to see if after this child, she'll be like, I'll do a surrogate. I want one more, but I'll do a surrogate.
Right.
You know? Because that's become so acceptable now.
Yeah.
And if she's 50 years old and they decide to have another one, I could understand someone saying, like,
yeah,
it's totally understandable.
Yeah, for sure. I think Judy is much younger.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I want to say, I don't even think she's 40 yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think she's much younger.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But yeah, so that was pretty interesting. And then we were also talking about how it's just...
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. How there's so many people pregnant right now.
Yeah.
So we have her, and then we have Rihanna, of course. She kind of like made her announcement after the Super Bowl, but we all saw it.
Yeah.
We all saw it right there in our faces on the Super Bowl. We all questioned it, but we all saw it.
I know, right? We all weren't sure, but...
And then Natari.
Did we ever talk about the Super Bowl? Because
no, we weren't here.
I just want to say it for the record, I love the song catalog of what she did.
Yeah.
But
underwhelming.
It was underwhelming because I was ready for her to be like, "Come on, roll bar."
Right.
I was ready to hit
even
it.
The choreography of the dancers. Like, I was like, what are y'all doing? Like,
and then I was mad at this. When they were warming it up before she would come out, all the dancers my husband was like, look at Nicole, they're practicing the dances.
Oh no.
And I was like, no, they better not be out there practicing the dances. They perform in 5 minutes. And sure enough.
Well, that's what dancers do.
I know.
They're gonna run it. They're gonna run it as many times, especially if you're doing the Super Bowl. Like, you want to make sure it's perfect. So dancers, I mean, that's normal. The camera should not have caught that. However, like, come on, camera guy, don't do that.
I didn't like that.
They do that. That's what dancers do.
Oh, they just. I was like, no,
yeah, they're gonna run it. They're gonna run it as many times as they can to make sure everybody is on point. So, but also, I just feel like it was so underwhelming. Like, love her. Catalog was,
loved the stage too. I love the stage.
Catalog was amazing. We loved, like, literally
love her
in there jamming. But come on, it's the Super Bowl, and after last year's Super Bowl, come on.
Oh yeah, last year's was so good.
Last year's was amazing. Yeah. Like, amazing. So
I wish that one would have been longer.
Yeah,
like,
we
didn't want
it to
forever.
End. Yeah,
first felt like it took forever
because we were waiting for something to pop, and then we're distracted by the belly, so we're waiting for her to do the whole Beyonce move, or something. Like, I thought she was gonna throw the jacket off and be like,
yeah. But even Cardi B did that.
Yeah, she rubbed her belly a little bit, but she didn't make the announcement until, like, completely after.
Yeah, on
social media, kind of just like, yeah, I'm pregnant, whatever.
And it was just like, I would have liked her to reschedule.
Or, like, why didn't she bring anybody else out? That would have helped. That would have helped.
And I understand why she didn't bring anybody out, but once she found out she was pregnant, like, if she would have did that whole set by herself, not pregnant, and gave it 110%, then I would have been like, okay, cool.
Not the greatest, like,
performer.
Yeah.
But somebody should have came out, and I thought for a second Kanye was coming out.
Me too.
If Kanye would have came out,
if
Kanye would have came out, I would have lost it. Even with her being underwhelming.
Yeah,
I would have lost it.
She should have had somebody. But anyway,
sorry.
Congratulations to all the mamas. One more person. She's not really like a huge celebrity, but if you watch the Real Housewives of Atlanta, you know who she is. Shamia, which is Portia Williams' best friend.
Oh.
She actually used the same surrogate as Kandi. Kandi Burruss.
That's cute.
Yeah, and so she's kind of been documenting her surrogacy with her, but unfortunately, her surrogate got breast cancer.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Dr. Jackie is the doctor, and they went on the radio show that Shamia is on with Big Tigger. I don't know if they still call him that, but yeah, so they were on the radio show, and they kind of like explained the whole process and everything. And with her having breast cancer, they went ahead and induced labor early.
Yeah.
For the safety of the baby and for her, and so that she can start getting started on her process. Yeah. And so they asked a lot of questions. It was very insightful. Like, she's not able to, like, give her any milk because she needs to start her process right away because it's early. And so they want to catch it. And so but also she had the baby early, so she had to go to the NICU. And now she has to do a surgery. The baby has to have surgery because there's something blocking her air passage. So prayers to that family for the baby and for the surrogate. I'm just like, dang, because she did 2 babies for Kandi.
Oh, she did 2?
2, right?
Wow.
Did she do 2? No, she did 1. No, Kandi carried Ace by herself, right?
Oh, yeah, she did.
So she did 1 baby for her.
She had a whole second baby.
Yeah.
Whole third.
So, and that wasn't her first rodeo. So I don't know how many babies she was a surrogate for.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so that was kind of scary. I was like, dang. Yeah.
If I would have had kids earlier, I could see myself like being a surrogate.
Yeah.
If I would have had like kids in like my 20s, like when I hit my late 20s, 30s, I could have done that.
I said I would have done it too, but I don't know if I would have been able to just part ways with the baby.
I know I could part.
That's the only thing with me. Like, I loved being pregnant though. Like,
yeah.
I love being pregnant, but I think with just having that type of bond with the baby, like being inside and like, I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I used to feel that way. Mm-hmm. But now after 3,
you're like, take it. That's why you said that third one. That's why you say if you would have had your kids first.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I think that too. If I like if a friend or somebody wanted me to carry their baby now, I probably could do it and give it back.
Yeah,
because I don't want no more kids.
Yeah.
Maybe not a friend. Maybe not a friend. Because then I would still see the baby and I'd be like, you know, you was in my womb. You
my baby. Mama, why she always saying I'm her baby?
I'm your TT mama.
That's funny.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to move on to our topic for the day.
Yes.
And we kind of touched on some things that kind of coincide with this. But today we wanted to talk about ways that we can cope with overstimulation as mothers.
Yes.
So we all know there's a lot going on with your mom. Like, there's a lot from the time you get pregnant. And then, like, that's when it all gets started. And so, you know, just through the whole process of pregnancy, once the baby comes, then hormones, and then you have multiple children, running a household, running a business, going through the different stages of life with your child. All these things are happening simultaneously.
Right.
And just with our day-to-day task and dealing with work, dealing with the children, with their schools, with doctor's appointments, with trying to...
Sorry.
We're tired. Right. It's late, y'all. With trying to entertain them and listen to their million stories. Okay? And my child talks a lot. Like, that was another moment I could have said. When I went to my son's school for Valentine's Day, I was kind of like talking to some of the lunch ladies, and they were like, because we're standing out there watching the kids eat lunch or whatever. And so they're like, oh, which one is yours? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's my son right there. And they're like, oh, he's so sweet. He's so helpful. But he talks a lot. Like, he does not stop talking. I said, who you telling? The only time I get a break is when he's here with y'all or when he's asleep. So who you telling? So
he gonna run a debate team, okay?
Child, something, okay? Because he literally does not stop talking. And
he's a good communicator.
He's a very good communicator, and I love that about him. And so I try to encourage it, but also I can become overstimulated because it's a lot. It's a lot going on all at once. And so today we kind of just want to talk about some tools and tips that we can use to help us with coping with this. So if you are one of those moms who find yourself getting overstimulated, leave us a comment below and let us know what you guys do to cope with that. And if you don't know what we're talking about, sometimes overstimulation can look like irritation, snapping for no reason,
stressed for no reason.
Stress. You don't even know where the stress is coming from. You don't even know.
Or you know what? How I realized I was overstimulated, and I thought I was the only one, but I started seeing it more and more on Instagram. Is when your husband comes home and he want to give you a hug.
Yeah, and you're like, in your head, sometimes you don't say it out loud.
You don't say it out loud.
Sometimes
yeah.
Please don't touch me.
And I'm already not a touchy-feely person. I'm not a touch is not my love language.
It is mine, but sometimes I just still don't be wanting to be touched because I've been touched all day. Especially when you have a toddler. And my son, my 3-year-old, he just has to be touching you at all times. Like, if he's playing, like, he'll reach over and put his little toes on you. Or like some part, if he's sitting in your vicinity, some part of his body has to be touching you. And I don't mind it because physical touch is one of my love languages. Yeah. But when I'm overstimulated, like if it's been constant all day long. So like we said, it can come in the form of stress, being easily irritated, just pure exhaustion. Just the smallest thing could just set you over the top. And a lot of times you don't even realize when it's happening.
Yeah.
So coming up with some of these tools is going to help you to, some of these tools are going to help you to be able to identify when you are overstimulated. Because if you can identify it when it's happening, you can do better. Because what we don't want to do is lash out on our kids, take it out on our husbands, take it out on ourselves by overeating or
pouring too much wine
at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, like,
2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock,
whatever time it is. So we just want to help each other out in this area, because it is something that is very common. You are not alone if you are feeling this way. I was going to write down the points of how to identify when you're overstimulated, but we might have to add that at the end or in another segment, because we're recording on my device right now. But yeah, so there's several ways that you can identify it. So we'll keep you guys updated with that. But right now we're just gonna let y'all know the tips. Okay.
Yes.
Ready?
Yes. Let's get into these tips.
So the first thing that you can do is schedule less things in a day. So a lot of times we are cramming. Okay. We have so much to do in a day where, depending on how many kids you can have so many appointments. You have to drop off at multiple locations, pick up at different times. So just trying to get your schedule alone can be a lot. So then on top of that, you add in work. You add in other people's agendas. Like if you have to go help out a family member or a friend, or you have to go grocery shopping, all these things are happening constantly.
Yes.
So what we add to that plate, we have to be careful.
Exactly.
Because that's why it's helpful to kind of like write out your schedule, because you need to see what's going on in that day. You don't want to, I know for myself, sometimes I'm like, we talked about before, like putting ourselves on the calendar, making sure we're prioritizing ourselves this year. So even if I have 50 things to do in that week for my family, I'm still trying to cram in my stuff because I committed to that, right?
Right.
But then I get overstimulated because, okay, well, what takes priority this week? Well, the kids, they have to have these doctor's appointments. I've been waiting for months for these appointments.
They have to eat lunch.
They have to eat. We have to do X, Y, and Z. So on those heavy load days, just don't schedule no extra stuff. Yeah. Try to give yourself a little break.
And to add to that, even when we make our schedule, put less on our schedule, we have to make sure that we don't over multitask. This is something I do.
Right. Well, we were writing it down. She was like, what do you mean don't multitask?
Yeah. I'm looking at the tips like, we got to multitask.
Right.
But we can't over multitask.
Right.
A prime example. I was making chicken, seasoning chicken, making waffles, washing a load of clothes, getting the shower ready, and one kid doing homework.
It's a lot.
That's over multitasking.
But for people listening, you're probably like, that's a typical night. That's a typical evening in our household. And I get it, because I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Especially on weeks where you're on your own.
Yeah.
Like, on those weeks where both of our husbands travel for work.
Yeah.
Hers more than mine. But on those weeks when you have the kids by yourself, you do. You got to put dinner on. You got to get the homework done. You got to get them in the bath. And you try to get it all done by 8:30 or 8 o'clock, whatever your kid's bedtime is. And so
what I've learned to do is my oldest knows how to turn on the shower. So the oldest, you go turn on the shower.
Yeah.
And the washing the clothes just has to wait till they go to bed.
Right.
And focus on just making the dinner.
Right. Because you don't want to burn the house down.
Because the episode ago I almost did that. And then I was watching a video today and they said the most common ways to have your house burned down is from your kitchen stove. And I was like, oh my goodness, I just put out a fire in my kitchen stove.
Yeah.
scary stuff.
Yeah, so we have to really be careful with that, because also sometimes when you're over multitasking, you don't really get anything done.
That part, or it gets half done.
Yeah.
Or like the other day, I was over multitasking, and then I burnt the waffles.
Yeah, and then you have to what? Redo it.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's better to just take your time, do one thing at a time.
Exactly.
Do what makes sense for you. Like Nicole was saying, like, why do I have to wash the clothes right now? Why can't I wash it when they're in the bed? Like, you know. And we do try to do things like that because we want to try to get it all done so that we can move on to the next thing.
No, we try to do it all at once so that when they go to sleep, we can just chill and drink wine.
Right, that part. Or move on to the next thing too. Like,
yeah,
like,
the next thing, yeah.
And the next thing is sit on the couch and drink wine.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we have to do better with that.
I
know I definitely need to do better with that.
Yeah,
because I will definitely try to do 5 things at once.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about, okay, if I get it all done now, I could be free by 9:00. Yeah. And then I have more time to like do what I need to do.
Create content.
Right. Absolutely. Create content, edit, like, you know, like the things that we need to do, but that's also like fulfilling for us.
Yeah, that part.
So that's a good one. Yeah. Don't over multitask, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay. Another one.
And lessen your schedule.
Yeah. Another one, something that we kind of like talk about within like self-care, but scheduling in some quiet time.
Oh, and not just the bathroom.
Yeah, but think about it. How much quiet time do you really have? Because even if when we go to the bathroom, try to hide in the bathroom, we on our phone. So like just to have quiet time, I remember there was a day over the summer where I was overstimulated. And I literally went to my husband and I literally said, like, I'm feeling very overstimulated and I don't want to snap on anyone. So I'm going to go outside for a minute. And he was like, okay, sure, no problem. So I literally went outside to my backyard and laid in the grass.
Like, why is Mom laying in the grass?
Right. Laid in the grass.
Quiet.
Right. Let the sun hit my face, get some vitamin D, and 20 minutes later, I felt better because I just needed to be quiet. I needed to listen to the birds chirp. I needed to feel the sun on my face. I needed to just have a moment to myself. I purposefully left my phone inside and I just had that moment of quiet time. And so I think we do have to be intentional about taking those moments, whatever they look like. Yeah. You may not have grass in your backyard, but you can still go and let the sun hit your face, you know? Yeah. Intentionally leave your phone where it is. Or wherever that looks like for you, whatever, you know, how it fits your lifestyle. But also utilize your partner or utilize your friends or your family members, someone that can be there for you to give you that quiet time. Because, you know, as moms, we make excuses not to take care of ourselves. Yeah. So we always talk about the million and one things that we have to do, which is true. There's always something to do. I was thinking about that today. Like, there's literally always something to do. I was talking to my friend about how tired I was because my son decided that he wants to be up kikiing at 3:30 this morning. So I was talking about how tired I was, and she was like, well, the kids are at school. Why don't you just take a nap? I'm like, take a nap? Girl, I got so much stuff to do. Just because the kids at school don't mean I got stuff to do.
Because once they get home from school, you don't want to have those things to do and
on top of everything else, taking care of them. Yeah. Like, no, when they're at school, that's when I can get the most done. If I take a nap, I lose the day.
Yeah. And
so
then I don't have the night.
Right. And that's what's most important.
Yes.
Women don't sleep for that every night. So it's funny because my son said that too. He was like, Mom, because I was like, I'm so tired. And he was like, are you tired because you stayed up watching TV last night? And I said, no, I'm tired because after I stayed up watching TV last night and went to bed at the time that I intended on going to bed, your brother woke me up.
Oh my goodness.
So there's that. But yeah, just finding that time, like wherever it looks like, wherever you can, even if it's also sometimes I like to do is like when you get home from the grocery store, just sit in the car for a little bit
and just sit.
Just sit there. Like, if the kids are with you, let the kids in the house and just sit in the car. Like, I love doing that.
It's dangerous because I've fallen asleep doing that.
It is.
I fell asleep at the gas station one time doing that.
Oh no, that's
dangerous.
It was dangerous. Okay, make sure you're in the garage with the garage closed
with the car off.
And the car off. Oh Lord, please turn the car off.
Don't listen to us.
And be safe. Okay, yeah, don't listen to us. Never mind. Do what you need to do. But whatever you do not feel bad about taking your quiet time, because it's going to improve the quality of life for yourself, your children, your husband, everybody attached to you. So just do it.
Now, this next tip is not something I would have ever expected that I would need. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, Kendra, but when your kids are little, you just want to snuggle and snuggle and hold them and just,
cheek to cheek.
Yeah, cheek to cheek. Skin. Take a nap, skin to skin. You're just always just like, they just smell. You just
right.
And then as they get older, that's what they're used to.
Right.
It's just touching you, holding your hand.
Right.
But that is an easy way to get overstimulated, especially as they get older and you have multiple children. And so one of the tips is to have a touch break.
Yeah.
Say, hey guys, right now we're having a touch break.
Yeah, or name it whatever you want to name it.
Let's keep our hands to ourselves.
Mommy needs a break.
Mm-hmm. And, because I have noticed, like, even with my 1-year-old, now that she's a little bit more independent, with her not, like, always attached to me, it gives me a break in a sense of, like, okay, I can take a break.
Yeah.
And then my middle child is very, very, like, huggy. Like,
affectionate.
Very affectionate. And so I've had to balance it out because I don't want her to think, like, not to hug me.
Right, you know? You don't want to turn that off for her.
Right. I don't want to turn that off for her. So I'm trying to, like, balance it off. But, like, okay, mommy just needs a break. No touching right now. And I think that's definitely a tip that I'm going to take into my own real life.
Yeah, for sure. Because it is a lot. And, the tapping. Oh, I had to tell my 6-year-old. He doesn't really do that much anymore. But when he was younger, he wouldn't call my name. He would just... If I'm on the phone, if I'm doing something, he would just constantly tap me. And I'm like, please. You get overstimulated. You try to finish your phone call. You're like, okay, stop, baby. Yeah. Okay, stop, baby. Okay, 1 minute.
Yeah.
Please. Please. Stop and like,
sorry for all the AirPod.
Yeah. Right. Sorry. But yeah, you get those moments where you're just like, you're trying to hold it in. You're trying to not be... you don't want to turn them off from being affectionate with you, and you want to encourage it. You want to engage with your kids. But on those days, it's okay to say, mommy needs a little break.
Yeah.
Or you can call it a touch break or whatever you feel comfortable saying, to your kids. But, it's also good. I was talking to someone about this the other day. It's good to explain things to your kids because when they can understand where you're coming from, they're more likely to participate in whatever you're asking them to do. So for me, I would just say, we've been touching a lot today. And mommy just needs just a little break. I love your hugs. I love when we sit next to each other, but mommy just need a little bit of a touch break, and I'll let you know when my break is over.
And sometimes when I need a touch break, I just give them an activity to do. We're like, okay, let's have one big hug, a high five, and now we're going to do this activity where you are over here.
That's a good idea.
Let's color.
Yeah, that's a really good idea because some kids they won't understand.
Yeah.
Or they're very sensitive, so they'll take it personally.
Right.
Like, mommy doesn't want me to touch her. Like, that's something that kid would say.
What's going on? But I have noticed that when I needed that type of break, I give them an activity to do.
That's a really good tip. Because we don't want them to think that we love them any less or whatever. But we also have to take care of ourselves, because if you don't let your kids know what's going on with you, and then they keep touching you and crawling all over you, and then you flip,
then that's traumatizing.
Worse. Yeah, like, this is the whole point of figuring out these ways to help help ourselves cope and kind of like come down, because we don't want to do something that we can't take back.
Yeah, and that's a serious thing, because I was talking to someone not that long ago, and they were saying how their mom had flipped one time, and now looking back, the mom flipped and it was really on the dad, but the child took it as the mom flipped on them.
It's like it's their fault.
And from that moment on, it changed the whole course of their relationship with the parent.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so scary, because as a parent, you're really trying to do your best. And to think that one flip or one spaz could, you know, change the child's mind about the relationship that they see with the parent. Well, that's just like...
That's a really good point, though, because by utilizing these tools and things that we talk about, we are preventing childhood trauma. Like,
we are, but that was deep. That was deep.
That was deep.
That was deep.
I'm like so serious, because if we take into account, like, think about it.
But
our parents didn't have these tools.
Right.
Now we have these tools at our fingertips to literally,
and we have the research behind it.
We have the resources, the research. We have tapped in with ourselves to figure out what our childhood traumas were or are, so that we don't carry it on with our children. So you can literally prevent certain childhood traumas by literally listening to our podcast and other and other resources that are just educating ourselves. Yeah. Like, I literally was talking to one of the youth at our church, who is now an adult, getting married, has children of their, or a child of their own, just about different parenting like advice they were, you know, talking to us about, and just kind of imparting some wisdom and things on them, and just letting them know that there's different ways to do things than how we were raised.
Right.
Because that's what we're learning. And although we know that we came out good, certain practices we don't have to adopt, but certain practices we do want to adopt, you know? Right. And so we just kind of gathering information and tools so that we can just try to create a better environment for our kids. Things are going to happen. Kids are going to have, we all going to have a little trauma, you know?
Yeah.
But there's certain things that we can't prevent by taking in this stuff. Right. So I wasn't trying to be dramatic, but like, for real.
Does. Yeah. You know,
like for real. No, like, you really can't prevent certain traumas by having self-control.
Yeah. Because that's what it really comes down to.
This is like helping us to regulate ourselves.
Yes.
It was just a little epiphany, okay?
Okay. Okay.
It's my turn?
It's my turn. Okay. So the thing, something that's very helpful when you're overstimulated, right? And you can feel it coming on, like, oh my goodness. Okay, listen. These kids gotta sit. We gotta get this together. I'm starting to get irritable. I'm starting to get irritated, right?
Right.
It's okay to use technology.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay for them to sit and watch the tablet.
In our opinion.
I also was watching the psychologist on YouTube, and he was saying technology is such a great tool.
Right.
And it's all about what your child is watching.
And how long.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you don't want your child on there all day.
Right.
But you can take a break and they can watch something educational.
Yep.
And a lot of times these things that are educational, the kids can't even tell that it's educational.
Right. It's fun.
Especially for the younger kids. Like, they don't even see it as being something educational. They just see it as something fun. Right.
Exactly.
So it's okay to take a break and say, hey, you know what? We're going to have a little tablet time.
Right.
That's what we call it at my house. We call it tablet time.
For real.
And you do that for a second while I have my own tablet time.
Right. Well, because you have to utilize your resources too. Because the reality of the situation is everybody doesn't have a partner. Everybody doesn't have someone that they can call on to come in and step in and intervene. So you got to utilize your resources. If your child needs to be entertained while you take a mental health break.
Yeah, that's what it really is.
Yeah, because if it's going to be your child getting 30 minutes of screen time or you flipping out, what you going to do?
And if you're not okay with screen time, like a tablet, when my husband watches the kids and he gets overstimulated and I'm out somewhere drinking wine, he turns on a movie.
Yeah, you can do a movie.
He'd be like, all right, guys, it's movie time. Get the popcorn. He'll like, I'll get that popcorn. So they sit down and they watch a movie. So every time I go somewhere, and that's rare that I go somewhere, but when I do, he's like, oh, we got a movie.
And you know what else you can do if you're just completely against technology? You can create activity boxes. You can do like sensory bins. You can do, things that they can do individually. And that's going to be safe. That gives you a moment. So whatever that looks like with your, style of parenting, then do that. Like, I think it's cool to have something that your kids can look forward to. So always keep something that they don't always have access to. That way you can pull it out when you need it. So that's how I try to use the tablet. So if I know that we're going to have a long day out and about and I need my kids to, be engaged, or I need them to, have some personal time, whatever, I withhold the tablet, the Nintendo Switch. I withhold all that stuff until I need it.
Yeah. I do that too. Yeah. Especially on a long drive, I withhold it. All of it until I need it.
And then when you need it, whip that thing out and let them have at it, because we just gotta utilize the resources that we have. So like I said, if you're completely against technology, just figure out what works for you. Sensory bands, activity boxes, activity boards, whatever works for your family. I think movies are great because they're normally at least a couple of hours, and then you can have a conversation about it afterwards.
No, they fall asleep.
Girl, I'm talking to the people who are like
the kids fall asleep.
Right.
No, but you're
OG with it. Yeah. I'm talking to the people who are like completely against screen time. If you just have to make it educational and make yourself feel better, you can talk about it afterwards to get, work on their comprehension skills. We always do that just because our son is a talker. So he always wants to talk about the movie afterwards. So another one that I had was journaling. You can journal in the morning, you can journal in the evening, but journaling helps you with your awareness. You can write, if you can write down how your day went, how you were feeling. There's also guided journals that you can get to, and they ask you questions like, what were you feeling today? What emotions did you have? Was there anything significant that happened in this day that caused you to be overstimulated or whatever? You can use those tools to kind of like write down your thoughts, and so that you can see visually like where your mind was or how your day kind of like went about. I utilize journaling when I'm stressed so that I can see where my stress is coming from. I probably should do it all the time, but I'm just being honest. So if I'm feeling stressed or overstimulated, I start to journal because I need to figure out like what's the source of this, where is it coming from, so that I can like deal with it. And it just gives you like a realistic output on like what's happening. So,
and I'll just write a lot if I'm overstimulated and I have too many ideas in my head. So I'm the kind of person that just has too many ideas. Yeah. And I just have to sit down and write down each idea, the breakdown of how I would do it, if I would even do it. And then I'm able to go to sleep.
I do that a lot too. That's why I do like journaling at night. Get all your thoughts out on paper.
Then you sleep better.
Sleep way better.
Sleep way better.
Especially with the ideas, because that's when I get most of my ideas is at night. And so I'll literally be laying down, my eyes closed, and then I'll be like, ooh, and then I want to Google it. Yeah. I want to start the research process. I want to like do all those things. So carving out a little bit of time before you lay down to kind of like get all that stuff out is good.
That's a game changer. Game changer.
Game changer. What else you got?
We've talked about this before, but being proactive with self-care, like writing it into your schedule so that you don't get to a point where you're like, I need it. Like, like
I'm at my wit's end.
Yeah, like I gotta get a massage today.
And but you ain't got time.
No time. So being proactive with your self-care, and something we've talked about even today is self-care for everyone looks a little different. Something I've had to readjust is thinking, like, for me, I was like, okay, self-care, I'm gonna go get my nails done. But then when I go get my nails done, I don't want to be there.
You can't relax.
I can't relax. So I'm like, okay, only just my feet, or something like that. Like, what part of this is relaxing to me?
Right. Yeah.
Or like go to Massage Envy once a quarter, or just stuff like that. Like, what is self-care to me that's not work related? And sometimes I feel like because we enjoy making content, everything becomes content.
Yes.
And so the past year, I've gotten really good at, like, okay, I do lots of things that I do not show on social media, or like there's lots of times I'll go to Legoland and nobody knows. Like,
right.
And then there's sometimes I record the whole thing, and just being okay with, like, not turning everything into content and just enjoying.
Right. I've had to do
self-care.
That because my phone is full of
content.
And I've kind of like took that on too, where I'm like, I don't have to record everything. Like this weekend, I didn't record anything. I'm like, this is not, I'm not here for leisure,
right?
And I did do a couple of like story clips or whatever, but I'm like, girl, you got so much content in your phone. If you don't repurpose that stuff and stop recording, you don't have no space in your phone anyway. So definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
Another one is, I'll just combine these two because we're almost done. Playing music in the house, that's something that is calming, white noise, or something that's calming and relaxing. Like if the kids are going haywire and it's too much going on all at one time, just kind of like soothe the space.
That's a good one.
So,
never thought about that.
Yeah, like put your what I like to do to calm my kids down. Get your little lavender, put it in your diffuser. And just play relaxing music. Like, okay, no TV, turn all the TVs off, all the devices off. You're going to have blocks, you're going to have a puzzle, and we're going to play relaxing music. The teachers do it in the classroom all the time. And it just kind of like helps bring down the mood and like allow everyone to relax, because the kids get overstimulated too. They like to have so many things going on at one time and they don't even realize how noisy it is. And it's like, let's just calm the space. Let's clear it out. Let's put, for me, when I'm feeling overstimulated as well, I have to clean the space. So if it gets too chaotic in the home and we have toys everywhere, we got books, we got this and that, I start to clean up. Or I'll have Kendon start to clean up some stuff, and let's move on to the next activity. But let's not have everything out.
Right.
Like, let's clean up, let's reset, clean things up. Okay, now let's do the specific activity, calm the space with the music, with the essential oils or whatever, and move on from there. Because then you're helping yourself and you're helping the kids, because they're getting overstimulated. They don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, they don't even know.
They start getting irritated and sleepy and whatever. The last thing is put down the phone.
Oh, put down your phone.
Put down your phone.
Oh, that's a
social media
will
overstimulate you faster than anything else in the world. And
TikTok will get you.
TikTok will. This is what I was about to say.
TikTok will.
I'm being transparent, y'all. Do not judge me.
Sometimes I do TikTok to fall asleep because it just burn you out.
Yeah, but you know what I will do? I'll be in the laundry room, or walking around with my phone like this, watching TikToks, picking stuff up, because it done got good. I'm on a roll.
Yeah. And
I have to get stuff done. So I'm multitasking. I'm being overstimulated by the phone, and it's just too much. Once I realize that's what I'm doing, I want to throw the phone.
Because it's causing you to get overstimulated.
Yes. And so it's just like we've gotten so used to doing multiple things at once. And I've even noticed it in like my son. He'll go get his tablet, or not his tablet, his Nintendo Switch, and like try to watch TV at the same time. I'm like, no, turn the TV. If you're going to play the Switch, turn the TV off and play the Switch. If you're going to watch a movie, turn the Switch off and watch the movie. Like, we don't need to be doing the same thing at the same time, even for myself, because I noticed when we're watching TV, I always have my phone, scrolling on the phone. So what do I do now? I try to go put the phone on the charger. But also, in our multitasking, I'm over here editing or putting a reel together while I'm like watching TV. Right. But it's like, you done missed half the thing. I'll be asking my husband, what happened? What he do?
What's going on? And speaking of husbands, it's okay to have these conversations, I feel like, with your spouse.
Yeah, it's important.
And when we first had our first child, I didn't realize I was overstimulated. Yeah. Like, I didn't realize it. But now to have the words to be able to say, hey, you know, at the end of the day, it's been a lot, especially like back in the day, I would go to the office with coworkers and a newborn. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I didn't use the word overstimulated, but earlier this evening when I was getting ready to come here, I'm like going over in my head, like, what are we going to talk about today? Trying to remember my moment, trying to like it was so many things going on in my head at once. Yeah. My husband and I had just had a conversation. I asked him for some information about something. He went in the room and came back and was asked a follow-up question about what we were just talking about. I'm like, do you know that thought left my mind when you left the room? I don't know what you're talking about. So he came right back in and was like, oh, such and such and that. I'm like, what you talking about? And then he's like, da 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 da. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I have so much stuff going on in my head right now. Can you remind me of what we were just talking about? Because it's not correlating.
Yeah, it's like whoop in one ear, out the other.
Because I felt myself getting irritated at the fact that he wasn't clear about what situation he was talking about. Because we did talk about 3 different things. Yeah. And I found myself like get irritated, but I'm like, it's not his fault. It's my fault. Because I have, not necessarily my fault, but I have a lot going on in my head. He doesn't know that. Right. So I communicated that to him. I said, I am so sorry, babe. I got so much stuff going on in my head. Yeah. Can you just remind me of which situation we're talking about? And he was like, oh yeah. Like, you know, so it's like, it's all about how you like,
how you say it. Yeah. And how you communicate it. And I feel like they appreciate that too.
Yeah. Yeah. He did for sure. Yeah. Yes. So we hope you guys enjoyed these tips and utilize them, because we sure will. Yes. I feel like we need to write them down, print them out, put them on the refrigerator. But thank you guys so much for listening / watching. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure you guys leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think. If you guys have any additional tips or tools that can help out the mamas in the community, go ahead and drop that below. And we will see you guys next week. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram at Somebody's Mama Pod. Yes. We did start a TikTok at Somebody's Mama Pod. You guys can go ahead and follow us there, even though we don't have nothing on there yet. Just follow us.
We will.
On YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you can listen. We are here, and we thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you. Bye.